Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey buzzers, what's going on? Welcome to AfterBuzz TV as Katie rocks out, with everybody else apparently. Anyway, thank you for joining us here for the Arrow After Show. We have another exciting episode to break down for you. But in the meantime, first and foremost, you can join us as co-host of the show. All you have to do is hashtag ABTV Arrow and then tweet at us. Now, I am Alikona Bradford. You can tweet me at BoysAndBeauty01, and then I will pass the mic along to this fellow who's swaying to my left.
Hi, Lex Michael, Twitter handle at the Lex Michael. I'm really digging this song.
Get it.
And I'm Tauri Miller, Twitter handle Tauri J, TauriJay.
And I'm Katie Cullen. Hi, all my buddies, at Kiaxet, Kiaxet. I will be checking the hashtag. It's ABTV Arrow. I'm trying to check the live chat, but the internet is not behaving, so no guarantees. And I adore this song. I grew up with it.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you again for joining us. Let's kick it off with, first of all, we had an amazing fight scene in the very, very beginning. I'd like to say it's awesome to see everybody coming together. I mean, I know we had some time gap, and Laurel somewhere in her time did some practicing or something, because now she's kicking ass down these like
It's been
zip
6
cords.
months.
Yeah, but I mean, it's cool, but I wish I would have seen the progression. But it is definitely nice to see her finally up to par with everybody else.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, that was
Would
my
you say
favorite part,
she's
the zip
up to
line. I was
par
like,
bat?
yeah. Wow.
In the booth, can you kill Tari's mic?
Bam! Bam!
Let's just
You
talk
tried.
about, though, right away, get into Thea and how she's fighting. I enjoy it to an extent. Do you guys think that it's okay or not okay that she's starting to cross the line?
We're finally seeing the frog water have an effect, and I'm glad that this wasn't something where it was just like, she came out of the pit and she is fine. It's just one of those things where evidently, instead of having immediate crazy pants, it's a very, very slow burn, to the point where no one else noticed it, and Oliver coming back can see the drastic change. It's kind of the same idea where if you drop a frog in boiling water, it'll hop out, or if you put it in regular water and heat it up gradually, it will let itself cook.
That's
Same
really
idea.
nasty.
No.
Thank
Heard
you.
that before?
Yeah, well, no. I'm vegan. I'm not into stuff like that. I'm so
frogs.
sorry.
It's basically people don't notice gradual changes around them, but because Oliver was gone for so long, he's able to come back and look at Thea and go, what on God's green earth has happened to you? Stop.
Frog rage.
You know what? But
Frog
here's the
rage.
thing. I understand, and it's not a good thing, and obviously it can only get worse unless there's an intervention. However, it did come in handy. I'm not going to lie. When there was a fight between Lonnie, is what he was going by at the time,
Yes.
but when they were having that fight over Madison, and he's got his little electric stick, and clearly Oliver got himself electrocuted-ish, and he was out for the count. So then here comes Thea, and she's like, wah, wah, wah.
Just
I
like
was
that.
like,
But then she set him on fire.
There was a line
she's
somewhere.
No, you know what?
Hell.
Here's the thing. She should have let him burn. She was about to turn him into a skewer, into a shish kebab, and she should have, because now he's going to come back and create chaos. Clearly,
We don't
anarchy.
really go
Yes.
for immolation here.
Well, then chop his head off and call it a quick death.
We don't really go for that either.
Well, I do, and I get that Oliver is trying to be a bright light and an inspiration.
They're not all the Punisher.
He's also trying to get Lance to trust him, hence the doing things differently remark, and Thea completely
that one.
upset
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So that's not helping who he is and who he's trying to be.
But kind of piggybacking off of what you're saying, I felt like Thea never went far enough for it to warrant. Like, it's different for her, but at the same time, she's only doing what Oliver of the past had already done.
Exactly. So have some,
that's
not
the
empathy,
past.
but understanding.
Right.
Understanding the process. Because he had to go through his own trials and tribulations before he saw the light.
Right.
You
But
know?
that's the past, and why do we want Thea to make Oliver's mistakes
No.
again? Because a lot of people died because of Oliver's mistakes, and if we can prevent that, plus that's Oliver, we see his training, we see what he's gone through on the island and in Shanghai, was it Shanghai?
Yeah.
And just all the stuff he's been through that basically beat into him, no, you need to be a killer, you need to do it this way. Thea's unstable, and that's a very, very different approach and a very, very different reason for the violence. So saying, oh, it's okay, she's doing what Oliver did. No, she's not okay, and she needs help.
Well, she seems to think that you can't judge her.
It is tough. It is tough for the reasons you're describing for Oliver to take that stance because, from her perspective, yeah, he absolutely does sound hypocritical. But I agree with you completely. It's one thing for Oliver to have this drilled into him so aggressively for such a long time, and then to have to unlearn that. Thea's been through some incredibly traumatic events. Her own death among them. And yes, obviously you're going to have to vent a lot of that somehow, but I don't think that you need to kill a bunch of people to learn that you don't need to kill a bunch of people.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know-
Stepping stones, guys.
But here's what I wonder. While she's going through the motions, in her mind, I'm wondering what the thoughts are, if it's a blackout, the way somebody blacks out when they get really angry and they fight, or if it's simulating like when somebody is on drugs and they're just really unaware of what they're doing and they come off of their high and they're like, okay. Because it almost seemed like there was a fight that she had. I don't recall if it was the one where it was with Lonnie or if it was somebody else, but I remember when she was done, it was almost like she was coming off of a high. Like she had her words and her altercations with Oliver, and then she just, I don't know, something about her energy was like, like she just got something out of what she just did. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's like...
Again, frog water.
Frog water.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Whatevs.
You were saying?
Well, I was saying it's like those. You'll see it in a lot of like older like warrior tales, but like people who get high off of the thrill of battle.
Right.
And she's kind of in that world where and you kind of saw a little bit of it when she was hooting and hollering in that first heist breakup that they went on.
Mm-hmm.
Like she is now like a junkie for,
Yes,
for
yes.
battle.
She's a berserker.
Yes.
That's not good.
No.
You don't want berserkers to be tiny, for one. They need to be able to take a hit. For another, no, because the point of a berserker is you drive them crazy and you send them into the middle of enemy forces and they just go nuts and kill everything.
Right.
And given that Oliver's operation is for the most part a stealth operation, that's not going to help. And everything includes the people around them, which is her allies and her siblings. So it's not good to have a berserker on this kind of team.
Right.
Well, and you know what's interesting is now that she's gradually going through these things, and then you obviously have Laurel, who's there and stable, but technically not all so stable when it does come to her sister. And I already knew, I mean, reading, I knew that obviously we're going to bring back Sarah, but you're witnessing Thea. You just saw Thea basically go nuts on her own brother in this fight, right, when they're in their lair. And here's Laurel, as soon as she finds out about the Lazarus Pit, you know, spa day. But I'm just like, I get it, you missed your sister, but why don't you wait to see what pans out with Thea and where this is going to go exactly?
I feel like I wouldn't know who any of these characters were if they weren't constantly making terrible decisions.
We just had a domino effect of bad decisions in
There
the
were
last, 5 minutes of this
A number of very
One right
questionable
after
calls
another.
made. Yeah.
It was beautiful. But I think Laurel looked at never having my sister back and having her back but having her occasionally be violently unstable.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's
it's
like-
for her, it's worth it to have her back. And she will probably think that, hey, Dad, she's back. It's literally magic, but winner.
But it's worse though because Sarah is much more trained
Yes.
than Thea. So
And
it's
also
like,
much more dead.
yes. So she's going to be more crazy and more dangerous. Actually, no, I want this to happen.
It's going to be very entertaining.
We have Legends of Tomorrow coming up. It's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say I did not anticipate that happening so soon. I knew it was going to happen, just not this soon. And I was pretty surprised they actually showed the body. This
That was
episode, if
gnarly.
anything.
She looked really good for a corpse
oh.
that was like, what, a year and a half old. Holy
okay.
cow. She looked, usually they're horribly broken down by that point. She looked really good.
Decomposing very casually.
And when's
Yeah.
the last time you saw a corpse from a year of death?
I'm a writer. I do my research.
Okay.
I'm probably on a watch list at some point, but I am a writer and I do my research. And let me tell you, corpse breakdown happens pretty dang quickly, especially since she wasn't embalmed or anything like that. They just kind of put her in a box and went.
Yeah.
And she looks much, much better than a year-old corpse ever should. She should be in pieces
Yeah.
at best.
You wouldn't be able to show a year-old corpse accurately on the CW.
Oh no.
I mean, it's
HBO
magic.
maybe.
I mean, you could.
Halloween decorations.
There you go.
That's what this is. We're at Halloween. We're at like Party Central, and this is the White Canary decoration.
Wow.
Some assembly required.
Wow.
Requires 2
That's
AA
spot
batteries.
Okay.
I regret nothing.
Oh well. P.S. People who are is the live stream working? Do we know if the
The
live stream?
live stream itself is working. I cannot get internet connection to watch the live chat.
Right.
So
Okay.
those of you who are in the chat, entertain yourselves because
Yes.
unfortunately we can't see it.
Well, I was gonna
we
say,
are
please-
watching the hashtag on Twitter, so please do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's what I was just going to say. If you are watching live, please feel free to tweet us. We love hearing your comments. If we can, integrate them in what's going on currently in our conversation, by all means. And I think we already have some.
Gillian Davila, yeah, they all need to really think before they make decisions. Sheesh. But then we wouldn't be watching Arrow anymore.
Exactly. Most of these horrible decisions that they all make, and you notice they make the decision for themselves. Whether it's perfect example tonight, Laurel deciding that they're going to take Sarah's body to Nana Parbat and resurrect her. She makes this decision by herself. She tells Thea and no one else.
Right.
So it's always a
Right.
combination of horrible decision and telling nobody. And this has been a problem that has existed among this team since
So
day one.
much.
Is the fact that nobody communicates with each other until it literally comes to blows. That's why everyone's always so mad all the time.
Right.
You think this is really easily. It's all really easily dealable if they just talk a little bit.
I mean, hello, Diggle. The one person who's like big on honesty, this, that, and the third, and here he is. But his excuse is, well, when it's family, it's different. No, fool.
He also no longer feels like he can trust Oliver.
Okay,
And
but regardless, leave Oliver out of it. Oliver's been gone for 6 months. He said that he's been researching Hive for the past 2 years, and that's prior to him losing trust with Oliver. So that's something he could have talked about to any one of them and did not.
Again, if they made good decisions,
exactly.
it wouldn't be Arrow.
And instead what we get is, I don't trust him, so I'm going to keep more secrets, thereby increasing the trust gap and making more eventual problems.
There's a reason I call it my beautiful, well-acted, well-choreographed soap opera.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is.
Yeah. Well, speaking of bad decisions, let's talk about our mayor candidacy. The first one.
When has that ever gone well for anybody in that town?
Never.
Well, I'm glad they addressed it, though.
Yes.
Yes.
She didn't pretend like...
Yeah. She's like, no, it'll be fine.
And also, evidently, she was created for the show. There is no parallel to her in the comics, but that's not to say that she won't pick up a mantle of a known character.
Sure.
It's true. I was hoping that she would be more of like the Harvey Dent to our Arrow.
Sure.
Like she would be like, I'm gonna be the light and Arrow's gonna be the dark, and we're gonna work together and create a yin and yang, and it's gonna be amazing.
We all know what happened to Harvey Dent.
Yeah, that didn't end well either.
No.
Even so.
But now we have Oliver Queen deciding he's going to run for mayor, which is something that did happen in the comics. He was mayor of that town for a while. And I suppose he is maybe the one person that could survive a mayoral run in that city.
Yeah.
Was he still undercover in the comics when he was mayor, or was he one of those superheroes where everyone knew?
It was, if I remember correctly, it was right after DC Comics did their 1 year later time jump. I don't remember specifically whether his identity was completely... I bet somebody on the internet will be able to tell me this.
Tell us in the hashtag, guys. That would be great.
That would be
Because I
awesome.
feel like that's something, a secret identity would be very difficult to keep when you're a very public figure. And we had that a lot in season 1 and season 2, where it's like, Oliver Queen, you're back from the dead. Everyone knows you. Why do you keep ducking out of every social engagement you wind up at?
Right.
Like, where do you go?
Maybe they think he's just a rich dude who's going off to do drugs or something.
Well, yeah, but when you're mayor, little different.
Right.
Little
He's not
harder
the
to
mayor.
duck out of.
Oh, got
He's
it.
gonna
Yeah.
try to be the mayor.
Yeah.
That looking
It's a
forward.
whole nother conversation, by the way. Anyways, going back to potential mayor Jessica,
Yes.
I think it's really interesting that she came out of nowhere. Granted, she said that she was Moira's friend, but to come out of nowhere, out of the blue, to be like, I'm just going to run. I think I'm inspirational. I can give people hope. I'm like, where did you come from exactly?
Sounds like a lot of politicians.
I mean,
I mean-
she's like, I'm rich, I can do what I want, and I want to own a city.
Well, evidently she's a Queen family friend. So
Right.
if she doesn't live in the city, or if we just haven't seen her because of all the drama that's been going down, it's a pretty good excuse for introducing a new character.
It is, and there is a little bit of this thing that you see a lot in TV where they introduce a new character, and it's, oh no, I was always here. It's just we never saw me, or you never talked about me. I know I never came up, but I was always here. I was always around.
Background. Yes.
Also, too, I mean, I know we're talking a little bit about Jessica, but I want to start talking a little bit about Felicity, too, because she's obviously now the owner of this huge corporation. And I like that, first of all, we got the introduction to our first gay superhero, who's, spoiler, sorry, he's going to eventually be a superhero.
Yes, he is, Echo Kellum is playing
Yes.
Curtis Holt, who is our Mr. Terrific in this universe, based, I would say, most closely, if only because of the name, on Michael Holt, who was the second Mr. Terrific, introduced in the Spectre book, number 54, June 1997, created by John Ostrander and Tom Mandrake. Yes?
I said, get it.
Yeah.
With your dates.
Bless you with your
I'm on top of
research.
facts and things, guys. But Mr. Terrific is known for having a genius intellect, Olympic level fitness. He's a master combatant, and then he's also got a super high tech mask. He can fire projectiles with his technology.
Ooh, now that you say that, though, now that you say that, towards the end of the episode, after Felicity goes through all of her shindig where she has to fire people, she decides she wants to do something different, and she goes up to bat for this guy
Yes.
and says he has something amazing, so amazing in the works. How do you know I have something amazing? I don't, but I'm betting that you do. Thank you for
He
letting
will.
me know.
He
That's
will.
exactly what the
I'll have a thing.
amazingness is
I'm
about
surprised
to
that
be.
nobody used the word terrific.
Well, and this is also the guy who came up with this algorithm that was supposed to help, and then the board turned it on its head and went, oh, okay, we're going to fire everyone, including you, for coming up with this algorithm.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
we're very obviously supposed to look at the board as in the wrong in this situation, despite the fact that this is what a lot of companies do when
Oh, yeah.
things happen. They'll just downsize employees instead of
Yep.
trying to find other solutions. So, yeah, that doesn't make it the right thing to do.
Right. I gotta be honest, and this is me not really thinking clearly on this, but when the end of the episode happened and Felicity's having this meeting with the board, I really thought, and I get it, they're investors, but I really thought she was going to let some of those people go. Like, who are downsizing? Well, I heard these people and deuces, guys.
Yeah.
But I suppose that company would not be on its feet anymore if she
Right.
did that. So,
And that would be the opposite of what she's like,
Right.
I don't want to fire people, so I'm going to fire you guys. But no, I liked that. I like this Felicity.
I do.
It was. I love that she's running her own company, and I love that she has like say in it. It just, I don't know. It warms my heart.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
wants a
love.
she does.
She wants a nickname now.
I
She
know.
does.
I'm like, I mean,
We're building up to Oracle, you guys.
And she is essentially their oracle, but
I really don't want it. Yeah.
because if y'all remember, some bad things happen to Barbara Gordon before she becomes Oracle. Some real,
It's the Killing
real
Joke,
bad-
isn't it?
Yeah, it is the Killing Joke. It's
That's rough.
Some real not very nice things happen to Barbara Gordon before she becomes Oracle. I don't think any
For
of us would
those
like
of
to
you-
see those things
For
happen to
those of
Felicity.
you who haven't read the comics or
Thank you,
haven't
thank
heard
you.
about this
Please.
or don't know what we're talking about, there's a very famous Batman comic called The Killing Joke, in which the Joker kind of goes off his nut a little more than usual, and we get a backstory for him that's about he had essentially the worst day on the planet, and that's why he's evil. And we're talking about his fiance died and he got laid off, and then he wound up in the, he essentially became the Joker because he had a day straight from hell. And so he puts Commissioner Gordon through a very similar day trying to prove a point that anyone will break if they go through this. And it ends with him shooting Barbara Gordon, who is the current Batgirl and Commissioner Gordon's daughter, in the spine and paralyzing her from the waist down. So she's wheelchair bound and she becomes Oracle and is essentially doing what Felicity does on this show. So there's a lot of call for Felicity to take on the name of Oracle, but nobody really wants to see Killing Joke played out on Arrow in any capacity. Just
It would
no.
mostly be very upsetting.
If we can get the name without the baggage, fine.
Yeah, okay.
But otherwise, come up with something else.
Madam Smoke.
I mean, I could deal with that. I will say, though, going back to the more lighthearted, fuzzy side of the situation,
Fuzzy.
I like Fuzzy, and I definitely liked Felicity's Fern, her work, Good Luck Fern.
Bag lunch.
Plastic fern.
Bag lunch. I was like, this is so cute. You know, the girly side of me. But
You know,
anyway.
he made her like a whole bento box or something. It wasn't just like, here's your sandwich. It was everything and the rice bowls and the cute little shapes with the kitty ears and the faces. Like, you know, he made her a straight up bento box.
I like this though. I like the way they're developing the relationship, and it's becoming more of a real thing. And at one point, when he purchased or paid for the windshield, he paid for the windshield. Yeah. I love that he said something about, well, you know, when you have a girlfriend who's the CEO of a major blah 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 company,
We have money now.
Yeah, we have money now. But not even that. The fact that he's like, well, when you have a girlfriend. And I know it's so stupid, but me being a female, like, it just feels good when a dude's claiming you and out in the open, and I like it. I mean, obviously it's known, right, that they're together, but it's just cute to hear him say it out loud.
See, and
It's
I love
more
that this
official.
flipped the gender roles in the relationship because she's the Fortune 500 CEO and he's making her lunch.
Right, it's cute.
Great.
And once upon a time, many moons ago, it was actually his family's company, so
Yeah.
the irony and all that.
Really, what he
He's
means
still
is,
making her a bento box.
what he means is we have money again.
Yeah.
Because there was really there was a very small window of time where he
Season
didn't
3.
have all of the money in the world. So this is probably fairly familiar to him.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
makes more lunches now.
Yeah. Interesting. Anyway, either way, the point is I just like the way they're showing the relationship, and you know, because we were talking about last episode how they're trying to lighten up the tone a little
Yes,
bit more,
yeah.
and even I like that Detective Lance made the reference to the fact that, you know, this city needs somebody who doesn't lurk in the darkness, who isn't this, that, and the third, which is everything that the Arrow has been in the past. And because they're introducing this more lightness, they're even saying, light this, light that, inspiration, hope, blah, 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 blah. And now you see Oliver saying, okay, I want to be these things for the city.
Yeah.
Right.
That is a true hero.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not sure he can do both.
I'm not saying I'm sure that he can either, but I like the direction that he's really trying.
Yeah. We're going to have a good time watching him do his darndest.
I feel like it's gold star territory. You tried.
There are a lot of potential issues that could come up when he's trying to run for office. The fact that he was, even though they pinned the identity of the Arrow on someone else, he was still a very public figure and was still accused of being a vigilante. A, you don't want people looking too hard at that. B, he's got a love child out there in the world
Yes,
somewhere.
that will surface.
I would
Yes.
think. I mean, there are a number of potential issues, so I'm wondering if Oliver, now that he's decided to do this, is going to put any thought into it at all, or if he's just made the decision, gonna tell nobody, and we'll just barrel ahead with it.
Oh yeah, that's Oliver.
That is Oliver.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a question?
No, I want the boy to make good choices.
He did make good choices. He's dating Felicity.
Thank
And
you.
I will say the entire run of the series, the whole will they, won't they thing between the two of them, as much as I like both of them, that dynamic, to me, in most situations, gets played out fairly quickly. But seeing the two of them as a couple, they're really cute.
They are.
They are.
cute.
It's great. And they
knew
have a
it.
stable relationship, but it's not perfect. And you can have plenty of actual relationship drama between people who are couples without breaking them up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is still why One More Day just kills me.
I feel like we need to also touch a little bit more on Damian Darhk, because we haven't even gotten to that yet, and we haven't gotten to Lonnie in depth. And his motivations and his psycho, I'm trying to get into Hive, but this is
And
how
we
I do
haven't
it.
talked about the flashbacks either.
No, I wanted to do that last.
Yeah.
But anyways, the point of all that is
Yes.
that Lonnie put a girl in the box.
Go in a box.
I know,
That's
There's a thing called a present. The whole thing starts with a box.
Either way, you know, honestly, I didn't even know she was alive at that point. I thought
Yeah.
maybe she was just a dead body in a box.
Oh, I figured she was still alive because Collateral. Otherwise, they would have made it very, very clear that it was a dead body. There would have been like a puddle of blood or something under there. Yeah, he wouldn't have killed her if he still needed her for collateral. But basically being told by Damian Darhk, no, goodbye. Is what pushed him over the edge.
Yeah. I'm saying, sorry, we haven't gotten to your comments yet. I'm so sorry.
I've
but
been reading them.
Olicity Lover 21 says, at least we know that Darhk doesn't like to hurt children. I don't know if I would classify her as children, but the way I took it is that there's just a certain way he likes to do things, and that's just not one of those ways.
Yeah, there was no class to it.
Exactly.
What we might be looking at here is lawful evil. He still adheres to a code, whether it's his own or someone else's or whatever. There's still very much a set of rules that he adheres to, but he's very much on the evil side of things.
Right.
Lawful evil people are actually usually the most effective people on the evil spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
good to know.
There's that.
In case I ever go evil, thank you.
Yeah. So make sure you
Follow
know
the
exactly
code.
Where to pin that.
Follow the code.
So Lonnie, as we keep referring to him, is this universe's version of Anarchy, which is a Batman villain. Came out of Detective Comics in November 1989, created by Alan Grant and Norm Breyfogle, and then more recently, actually, primarily an antagonist for Tim Drake, Red Robin. He also spent a lot of time as an anti-hero, so he goes back and forth as far as what his alignment is, if you will. We never hear him referred to as Anarchy in this episode. We hear the word bandied about quite a bit, and we see, once he's set on fire and vanishes from that ambulance, we see the A emblem that he left there for the law enforcement to see and be very sad about.
Now, do you think that was his blood or the guys that he killed's blood?
Oh, the guys that he killed.
No, the dead people.
I'm sure he had been bleeding a little bit.
Oh, he's cauterized.
He's all on fire.
Yeah.
And that was exciting too, because in the comics, Anarchy wears this full face mask and robe getup, like most frequently is a gold mask, this big red roby thing with all the comic book muscle padding on the front of it. So I'm hoping if we see him again, as we may, when we see him again, he shows up in something akin to his comic book outfit, because it's just so wonderfully silly.
I feel like it needs to be in a Flash crossover episode so someone can be smart about color parallels.
Yes.
That was beautiful. Wow. Can I get a sound bite of that? Someone just pull that.
It's my new ringtone.
I think what I liked most about Anarchy, or like Lonnie's story, is that it kind of paralleled Thea's story in that, like, he wants to be part of the team, but he's too much of a basket case.
Yep.
And it shows that if you continue down that path, it'll only end in anarchy.
Ha ha ha.
Well, he's chaotic evil trying to get on a lawful evil team, and you don't do that. That's opposite ends of the spectrum.
Right.
The other thing that figures directly into this part of the conversation and these exchanges between the Anarchy character and Damian Darhk is that Damian Darhk references more than once that Lonnie was previously in the employ of somebody called Rick Pinzolo.
He mentioned it twice, and then Felicity mentioned it and made this ugh noise when she said the name.
So we tried to look this name up. We had to go back several times, turn the subtitles on to make sure that we got the name right. We couldn't find this name anywhere associated with DC Comics, but interestingly, Rick Pinzolo was the name of the character played by Stanley Tucci on the 80s TV show Wise Guy. So now my fingers are crossed that we're going to see Wise Guy looped into the DC TV universe, and that Stanley Tucci will play a wonderful role on this season of Arrow.
That would be
They
amazing.
dropped the name 3 separate times. There's gotta be a reason for that. You don't do that if you're not gonna do something with it.
Do you know who's going to know the answer to that?
Who?
Ryan with Allison. Come on, where are you at?
Ryan,
Tweet
tell
me.
us. Do you
Tweet
know?
me. You know the answers to everything.
Do you like Wise Guy?
I mean, let us know if you do know. I don't know.
See, I
I'm putting my
figured
money
the
on you.
answer
Don't
would
prove
be
me wrong.
Guggenheim.
Huh?
I figured Guggenheim would know the answer to that.
I mean, he would too. But I'm just saying, our secret source, okay?
Guggenheim, are you watching? Tell us. Is Stanley Tucci coming to
Tweet
Arrow?
us.
We'd
We
like
wanna
to know.
Anyway, I will say this. I thought it was very interesting that when Detective Lance, Captain, Detective, your ranking always changes. When
Papa Bear.
Yeah, there you
Lance.
go. Papa Lance.
Corporal Lance, yes.
Anyways, when he goes walking into, I want out and blah, blah, blah. First of all, that ain't gonna happen, homie. Second of all, I thought it was very interesting that Damian Darhk, he gives this little threat like, be careful, I got your daughter. Don't cross me. Oh, hey, here's the name. You wanted that girl? Here you go. That's it. I was like, that's it? That's it? You're just going to give the location up? Meh, it was sloppy. Take it.
Well, he doesn't want to be associated with that. It doesn't follow his code.
Oh, he's
and
too
he has
good for that.
Exactly.
He's a classy killer.
Exactly. He has a very certain specific way of doing things. And this anarchy, kidnapping this girl, it's distasteful at
messy.
best. And that is against his personal code. Again, you've got the lawful versus the chaotic. And he wants nothing to do with it. So it's like, all right, well, you're police. You're kind of in my employ. It makes sense for you to wrap up this case. So here it is. Do the thing.
Yeah. And
bye.
We know without
And
knowing.
watch your tone.
The language comment was wonderful.
I thank you, Steve.
But we know without knowing specifically what Damian Darhk's ultimate plan is. We know he's got a bigger hand that he's going to play. So for him, this is small potatoes, and he's clearly just as glad to be rid of it.
Right.
Yeah, but it's also a stain on his operation if it gets traced back to him, and that's not what he wants.
Right.
Yeah. I think for me the most interesting part of that was the fact that we've finally confirmed why Lance is working for him. In that, like, because I don't think we knew in the last episode that he had threatened Laurel. Which leads me to
why? Why threaten Laurel?
I mean, well, one, she's I'm assuming that he knows that she's Canary. Like, he has to, otherwise it wouldn't matter. I mean, but beyond that, I mean, just to have a spy or a mole in the police department. I mean, it's a
pronoun
pawn
game.
to play.
Dark knows that Laurel is Canary.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my assumption.
Because I was like, when did that happen?
I mean, I feel like he has to know who all of the vigilantes are. I mean,
he doesn't know who the Arrow is. He tasked Lance with figuring that out.
Yeah. Well, yes, but the Arrow's been gone for a while.
Yeah.
He's had time to kind of like find the other ones and kind of track them. This is a theory.
Okay.
I'm not like confirming anything, but in my mind, he
In my
knows.
heart.
He knows who Laurel is, and she's a card for him to play, essentially.
I think it's questionable as to whether or not he knows, because I think if he knew, he would have incapacitated them entirely already and done it in ways that didn't look like, I'm taking out the vigilantes, and was more like, you were in the wrong place at the wrong time, but I made sure that it was the right place at the right time.
Right.
Like, if he knew who they were, he would have solved the problem already. Because he's that kind of person.
Very efficient.
Yes, but didn't Lance approach Damian Darhk, not vice versa?
I think that might have been the case.
Like last episode, I feel like Lance said something along the lines of, I came to you because I thought A, B, C, and D. I didn't realize you were going to be like this.
I didn't sign on for X.
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like he came to Damian, or he agreed to whatever Damian's terms were, and then every time he goes, I'm out, Damian goes,
no, you're not.
Don't you want to still have one kid left?
Well, it's okay. There's the Lazarus pits. No big.
Revolving door.
We resurrect everybody. We turn no one down.
I'm glad
Everyone is
we're
a
getting
frog.
consequences for that. And
Yeah.
I can't wait for Barrowman to show back up, because
Yes, I
that
miss
man.
him.
Hi, Dad.
I believe he's back next week.
Ooh,
so.
fun.
And then there's that guy.
Let's dive into the flashback. I know you really wanted to talk about that, so I'm gonna let you kick that one off.
I honestly just think they need to be covered because they're part of the show and they're a bit of paralleling. We we ended the flashbacks last week with Ollie essentially parachuting right in front of a guy with military garb. Just, who are you? Where are you from? And Ollie essentially kills him with his own combat knife, which, wow, dude. That was straight through the body armor, too. That's
Nicely done.
That's not easy. So, well done there. And gets a message, okay, infiltrate. Infiltrate what? You'll know when you see them. Just go. Make them trust you. Thanks, guys. So he essentially tears himself up, makes it look like he's been on the island for 3 years, and blows up the guy on a landmine. So when the other military people find him, it's, no, don't come any closer. This is a minefield. That's what happened to your friend. He died. I've been on this island for like 3 years since my yacht crashed.
But they knew.
Help.
Yeah, but they knew. That's the thing is, the guy's like, oh, Oliver Queen. Yeah, you're
Those two
semi-celeb.
guys who picked him up didn't know.
Yeah, no,
the
they
one
didn't.
guy in charge of the operation, whose name we did not get,
Commander Twitchy.
Commander Twitchy, recognized him. Was it Ryder?
I think it was because he was like, take him to Ryder.
Oh, point.
Yeah.
That's good.
Because
I like that.
he recognized Oliver on sight, and he's got this fun little eye twitch going on, which is super creepy. But it's essentially, well,
Maybe it's
I
him
can't.
processing data.
Yeah, no.
Maybe.
Like, well, I can't let you go because you tell people what we're doing. What are you doing? Doesn't matter. I can't let you go. So this dude just died. You want his job, and we end with Oliver having his job.
R.I.P.
Yeah, but-
flashback hair.
Huh?
R.I.P. flashback hair.
Yeah, now he's got like the military cut.
How are
Oh,
we
no,
gonna
no.
tell
What I
the
was going to say
difference?
is, what I thought was interesting, okay, so they're obviously in a field of some sort with these pretty purple flowers, harvesting something. I'm going to assume it's got to do with drugs or some situation, because why else would you have people harvesting whatnot? I am very interested to see, though, what will happen next episode if we do touch on the flashback going forward. Just because I know in the past Oliver's had to suck up his humanity, for lack of better words, to jump into a role. And he did that at this very moment where the old man passes out. I'm like, you really just gonna let him pass out?
Well, and
you gonna-
flashback Oliver is different from current Oliver, and we're really seeing that contrast
True.
at this point.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of surprised that it looks like the island is much more populated than we initially
Right.
thought. Like, where did these people come from? Are they imported?
Maybe it's just
Why?
the other side of the island. It's
How
a lot
big is
bigger
this
than we
island?
thought.
Yeah.
Is that where the tail of the plane landed? Is that where these people came from?
You know, say.
Lost.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't watch Lost.
I'm gonna be honest.
I am
that
lost.
one went over my head.
Yeah,
too.
okay.
Smoke
Cool.
monster. There
Yeah,
we go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Felicity Smoke.
Monster. What was that? Okay, now you gotta know. Now you gotta make a fist. Do it back. There.
there we go.
Okay.
That was awkward.
Yeah, that was real strange. That's good. It didn't happen. Let's move on. So, we do also, I'm thinking, what are they, probably something to do with drugs, yes, although we did establish last year that there are magical, all-powerful healing herbs
Oh,
in this
yes.
universe. So
That's true.
maybe magical herbs grow on this island.
Yeah.
It's quite possible.
That's what I got.
Thank you, magical herbical guy.
Magical herb?
Magical herbical man.
Yeah, yeah, it's like the lighting guy. You're the magical herbical guy.
Yeah.
The magical herbical guy.
Yeah. That's your new nickname. We'll have to think of something for Felicity. But
Pick up your badge after the show.
Magical herbical guy.
Yes. Now, Arrow? What happened?
What?
What?
Huh? I have no idea, but either way, let's get into some of our comments. I mean, I know it might be a little all over the place, but I definitely enjoy when you guys do contribute to the conversation. So let's just see what people have to say.
We've got Ryan Craig at RC Fury. Am I the only one that doesn't want Damian to be Felicity's dad? It seems like that's one of the big theories, that Damian Darhk is Felicity's long-lost, unknown, whatever father, and that him being unhappy with a daughter being kidnapped this episode feeds into that. It really could be either way. I would be surprised if that was the case, because that's a little too neat.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
It makes the world a little too small, I
Yep.
feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, he does have blue eyes and blonde hair.
So does a
they're
lot
so
of the population. So do I, but I'm pretty sure I'm not Felicity's dad.
Sure?
Oh, I see.
There's a few problems
Wait,
with that.
why does somebody think I should have a video about herbal essence? What?
I'm the magical herbical guy. Why are they telling you? Why can't I have it? That's mine. Now you gave me this title and you're immediately stepping on
doing
it.
an herbal essence
hard.
commercial in the waterfall like this.
My hair's almost long enough to flip, you guys.
According to Kathleen Safel and Gillian Davila, Guggenheim is a fan of, well, Kathleen says Guggenheim's a fan of Wise Guy, and
Okay.
Gillian replies Guggenheim's also a major troll.
So it could just be a
6
a
of
Wise
one,
Guy
half a
reference.
dozen of
Right.
the other.
Tommy Gregory answered our question from earlier. No, Oliver's identity wasn't secret, presumably when he was mayor.
Okay. See, that makes a lot
When was
more
Oliver
sense.
mayor?
In the comics.
comments.
Oh,
Not
okay.
on the-
I'm
not on
like,
the show.
what?
You missed
The whole
third and a half
episode,
season.
apparently.
Yeah.
6 months
Apparently.
later.
Okay, Ryan with Allison came back with a response. It's likely an original character, looked it up, and couldn't find him in DC Comics. So he's referencing to Pinzolo.
Okay.
Okay. So it seems like if we know that Guggenheim's a fan of Wise Guy, then more than likely he's just making
Picking
a Wise
the
Guy
name.
reference.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, okay.
I'm glad we got to the bottom of this one, guys.
But he
times.
continues, I would like a crossover with Wise Guy. Maybe Jim, I can't say that.
Maybe Jim Burns.
Okay, that is Burns. We'll show up. Yeah, I can spell, guys. I went to college.
Nice.
Hey. Okay, let's see what else you guys are saying before we cut into some news and gossip, unless there's something else y'all want to bring up.
Well, we're running short on time.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then we won't. All right, guys.
We do love you guys, and we do read the comments in the hashtag, though.
Yes. Yes. P.S. Make sure you follow all of our lovely hosts. I know we gave our Twitter handles earlier, but it's always super duper appreciated when you support everybody on the lovely panel. So make sure you do that tonight.
And also like and subscribe. Hit that thumbs up and all that jazz.
And
all the
also
stars.
find us and subscribe on iTunes. Leave ratings, leave 5 stars. That lets the producers know that you love us and we can continue to do the show.
Yeah.
Which we like to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a lot of fun.
Hey.
Love you guys.
Okay. So I'm gonna get into a little bit of news and gossip. So cool sound.
AfterBuzz TV News.
And there it is.
All right, so I apologize because today I don't have pictures. Unfortunately, they didn't go through, but I'll bring them next week. I do, however, have a little information. So Constantine, you guys were talking about Constantine last episode. He's going to appear in episode 5, which is entitled Haunted, and apparently I think he's the one who's actually going to help, if I'm correct, with the whole Sarah Lance resurrection.
He's definitely involved. I'm not positive if he's involved in bringing her back or in dealing with the fallout from bringing her back.
Right.
Gotcha.
I would probably go with the latter because Constantine's kind of a Fallout guy.
And he also, I would imagine, would be the first person to go, "What are you doing? No, bad idea. Don't do that."
But why?
Yeah. And then he would smoke about it.
Right. But not on television.
Still puns.
Okay. This is a little late news, but it happened while we were not on air yet, so I just want to bring it up. Manu Bennett had gotten arrested, you guys. I'm sure you know, last month. P.S., by the way, he turned 46 on the 9th, so happy belated.
Yay.
Not an awesome way to celebrate your birthday, post-celebration. But anyways.
Well, he did make all those super soldiers.
Yeah. But anyway, I was wondering, because I had read about it, I didn't read about it in depth as to what exactly happened, but apparently he was drunk, and he was at a party.
Yeah, he got fighty.
Yeah, and some kid, I guess, he was like 29 years old and looked at him the wrong way or something, and he punched him in the face.
Like you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Like
that
you
happens.
Like you really should not.
No.
Some kids have punchable
Oh, and
faces.
yes, when he knocked him to the ground, he dislocated the guy's nose before leaving the party.
Oh, jeez.
Yay, go Manu. I guess those on-set fighting things really do work. Training. Anyway. So yeah, that's Manu.
Mirakuru.
The rest of the news that I have is actually about future guest stars, but I'm going to hold on that because I had pictures and I like to reference for those of us who are watching the actual YouTube. It's fun to see people's faces and all that other good stuff.
You can describe their faces in great detail.
I could, but you know what? Honestly, without the picture, I don't know what their faces look like. So thanks for calling me out. Awesome co-host. Okay, so
I love your honesty. It's very bold.
yeah, well, I try. Anyways, so yeah, that's what I got right now for news. If anybody else has anything else, by all means, please shoot me a text. Tweet me.
I got Constantine. What is that? Next week? Was this episode 3 or episode 4?
This was 2.
This was 2.
Constantine, I
Wow.
believe, is 4 or 5. I do know, news-related, Damian Darhk is going to figure into a crossover with The Flash at some point this season.
Well, of course.
Which we knew had to happen.
And I will be gobsmacked if Zoom doesn't show his ugly masked face at some point in Star City.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, since you're talking about future, why don't we just, get some predictions?
Yeah, let's do that.
What a
That sounds like a
segue.
good idea.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
I love the light show.
I know, right?
Everybody-
I need some make it happen next week. Let's do it. Okay. Anyway. All right. So predictions. Since you were starting to talk about Zoom, is there anything else that you'd like to predict in the future?
Oh, that's just kind of in the corner of subtle and not so subtle Flash and Arrow crossovers, which we have been doing more than once in these episodes, and I adore that they are continuing to do that. Thank you guys. After reading some of the tweets and seeing some of the theories, I'm not thinking that it's Felicity that's 6 months later and 6 feet under.
Yeah, I got past that idea real fast.
I had a theory.
Yeah.
Because evidently the producers have said that they are keeping that person dead.
Yeah.
But
really?
the producers have lied before, so I kind of go into shows believing that the producers always lie in interviews because they have to change plans sometime.
Right.
The going theory seems to be that it will either be Oliver's baby mama or son. And I could see either of them, honestly.
Okay.
Enough emotion to get the single shonen manly tear.
Yeah.
but not enough for a full-on screaming breakdown.
Sure.
I'm gonna piggyback. Sorry, can I piggyback off of that thought? Or
How dare you?
Go for it.
Good.
Oh, I was just gonna say, not to get into super duper spoilery territory, but the preview that they showed at New York Comic Con had Oliver in Central City. I was like, Coast City?
Is he back in Coast
in
City
Central
again?
City, in the cafe where we last saw Oliver's baby mom.
Okay.
Jitters?
Yes, Jitters.
So it did get all fixed up.
Yeah.
Ah, go Barry.
That's the spoiler.
Okay.
That Jitters got fixed.
Jitters got fixed.
Everyone will
yeah.
have coffee again.
Well, you know, I was gonna say for a hot second, and I know that my prediction is gonna be wrong, but I'm just gonna say it out loud anyway. For a hot second, I almost thought it was gonna be Thea, only because for a moment when we start seeing her start to change and go really, really psycho between her and Oliver when they started fighting, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, P.S. Somebody, I do believe it was Olicity Lover that said, "What do you think would have happened if Dig and Laurel didn't pull her off of Oliver?" Honestly, nothing. I think Oliver was going easy on her. I think if Oliver really wanted to, he has the technique that he could have probably taken her down. I think he wanted to see a little bit of how far she was going to go, and maybe he was a little shocked. I don't know. But anyways, the point of the story is it was alluding to her going a little crazy, and then there was talk of the Lazarus Pit and all the effects, and then when Thea stopped and got emotional about, you know, when I died, because that's a normal conversation. But anyway, I thought for 2 seconds, what if Thea really loses her mind to the point where they decide it probably would have been best if we just let her go and just left her?
Oh, dear Lord, they're not going to put her down.
Well, I mean, given the fact
She's not Old Yeller.
Do you see the rabbits, Thea?
I would.
Do you see them?
Was that a 1-2 literary reference between you and me?
I know where you
You
live,
are
homie.
amazing. You don't know where I live.
That pleased me.
But we know, look, even if they eventually learn from that decision, they're certainly not going to learn quickly enough to not make the exact same decision again.
But at least it's Laurel making the decision and not Oliver?
No, when have either one of them made good decisions?
Bingo! Otherwise it wouldn't be Arrow.
Okay, really quick. Vern's Views hopped in. Thank you so much. She said that Constantine helps with Sarah to take out the darkness, hence White Canary.
That does sound like something Constantine would do.
Is that confirmed?
I just thought he was going to be the guy that picked her up out of the grave since she was probably heavy and just helped carry her over to the Lazarus pit.
Oh, no.
Halloween
Constantine
decorations are usually pretty light.
That's true. That is true. She's like a pinata, right?
Plastic. But no,
I was
Constantine.
thinking of like the anatomy skeleton.
Look at her dance. Constantine is the guy, and we'll talk more about Constantine when we see him, but Constantine is the guy he's the first one to tell you not to mess with magic.
Yeah.
It never ends well for anybody. So I always figured before they really started talking about how Constantine was going to play in plot-wise, he'd be the cleanup guy. He's not the guy that would put Thea in the pit. He'd be the guy that says, no, don't do that.
I wouldn't be surprised if after we've dealt with Damian Darhk at the end of the season, it's Constantine who comes in for kind of our stinger to be the one who really puts him down. Like the Arrow team being like, yes, we won, we're going to ride off into the sunset, life is good, and then we get this little post-credits thing with Constantine showing up and being like, yeah, you're in my jurisdiction now.
That would be great.
Interesting.
Great little cameo.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us here on the After Show. Thank you for those of you who partook in our, Twitter festival. For those of you who did not, make sure that you join us again next week. Again, I'm Alikona Bradford. You can find me on Twitter at BoysandBeauty01. Please look for me on YouTube. I have a channel, Boys and Beauty with Alikona. And yeah, we talk beauty tips and hot guys. So yeah, join me in my tub.
I am Lex Michael, Twitter, Instagram, all the things at the Lex Michael. I am also on Historic Hollywood on the Popcorn Talk Network. Check us out Fridays, 4 p.m.
Nice. I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Tauri J. It's TaurijAY. You can also find me on the Flash panel Tuesdays at 9 o'clock and Doctor Who panel on Sundays. Yep.
I'm Katie Cullen, and I'm officially terrified of hot tubs. You can find me on, if you like Disneyland and cat pictures, it is Chick with 2 Ks.
Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Also, I am now on Periscope, so you're watching me picture in picture in picture. What's up?
I'm on the internet right now?
Yes, so find me on Periscope.
You've been on the internet for like an hour.
I'm just learning how to do this. But anyways, thank you again, and we will see you next week. So, mwah, 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 goodbye and goodbye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later! The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.